Okay, so I'm on my way to watch Infinity Wars. I cannot wait.
We'll see. I mean, I'm usually not a superhero film type of person, but I'm still looking forward to it nonetheless. It's had good critic reviews, so...
There's been a lot of hype about this film, you know, predictions that maybe Tony Stark or maybe Captain America are going to die in this film. We'll see. It's had really good critic reviews, so I'm very excited. Midnight showing. If you're wondering about the way I'm dressing today, well, I'll let you know later. But yeah, let's get on with the film.
Okay, so just watched the Avengers Infinity War. I'm completely speechless. This review is going to be a big spoiler review, so I'm not going to say anything right now, but I'll pre-warn you now, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. And not what I expected, and it's not going to be what a lot of people are expecting. You know, we had the predictions about who was going to die. I'm speechless. What did you think, Elena?
That was quite good.
Yeah?
Yeah, but the ending, it was shocking.
Yes, definitely a shocking ending. I mean, the last 15 minutes of the film were not at all what I was expecting. I don't know what to make of it, really. It is very well written, very, very action-packed, full of special effects, great special effects. You know, I'm not usually a big, you know, superhero film fan, but I watch every Marvel film nonetheless, and I do watch every DC film. And that's because there's been a lot of really good ones recently, such as Deadpool. I absolutely love Black Panther, and the Guardians of the Galaxy films, which I love both 1 and 2. Marvel have taken a big risk with what they've done in this film, but I hope it pays off, and I think it will pay off. This is probably going to be the biggest film ever made, and I think audiences are going to go screaming through the screens, one after the other, multiple views. So this is going to be the big film of the year, more than likely. But, you know, there's a part 2, so we'll see. Anything can happen in the next set of films. We've still got, you know, a new Ant-Man film to come out, Ant-Man and the Wasp, so, I mean, there's lots of things that can happen until then. Marvel have a few films out this year, so we'll see. Yeah, very shocking, and I'm going to tell you the review right now, so keep watching.
So, what can I say? I could not stop thinking about Infinity War the whole way home. As a Marvel film, I think it's one of their best. And I can guarantee that the internet's exploding right now. It's probably going to be the biggest financial success they've ever had, possibly even of any film. And for those wondering about why I'm dressed this way, I just did a Blade Runner Secret Cinema, so pretty much an interactive event where I got to watch the film at the end, but also dress up and interact. I mean, I just love everything that Secret Cinema do. I did 28 Days Later in the past as well, which was amazing. Secret Cinema was directly before the midnight showing. I went straight to the cinema to catch the midnight showing, as I wanted to see it first, and I might as well, as I was already in the centre of the city. People thought that I might have been dressed up as a new villain or some sort of dark, half-assed version of Star-Lord, but yeah, I love Secret Cinema, but that's not what we're reviewing. But that is not what we're I can't say reviewing. We're reviewing what we're reviewing. I can't say reviewing. That's not what we're reviewing right now. We're reviewing Avengers Infinity War. I'm reviewing Avengers Infinity War. So, Avengers Infinity War, what did I think? So guys, just to reiterate, there's going to be spoilers. I'm telling you now, if you don't want any spoilers, this is a big spoiler film and it's going to be a spoiler review. I would leave the page now. I'll give you like 10 seconds which started 5 seconds ago. And for those that want to listen to spoilers that have already seen the film, or that just want to hear about it, about my review, then keep on watching. So there were lots of theories. You know, judging by the trailer, a lot of people were thinking that maybe Captain America's going to die. It was quite obvious that Vision was going to die because of the stone being taken out of his head in the trailer. Or how about Iron Man dying? A lot of people were thinking, possibly even hoping, that Iron Man would die. But the funny thing is, everyone was pretty much wrong. They're the people that survived, everyone else died. I mean, it was just a shocking scene at the end. There was a lot of characters in the film. They pretty much used every character in the Marvel Universe from every Marvel film series, except for Deadpool and Ant-Man, although Ant-Man was referenced, so possibly in the next film. We had the Guardians of the Galaxy, which would make a lot of sense because you've got Gamora, who's the adopted daughter of Thanos. We had, of course, the Avengers, past and present. We had the Winter Soldier. We also had in there, we had Spider-Man, the Collector. We had various different planets that we visited before. Many different worlds, such as Nowhere, obviously planet Earth, and Titan, which is a previous home planet of Thanos. So at the beginning we see the destruction of Asgard, with Loki being killed by Thanos as he attempted to stab him. He ended up having his neck broken while Thor watched. Thor was left on a ship which was blown up and left for dead and presumed dead. Seeing the Hulk up against Thanos at the beginning was great as well. It was almost like two of the same size men just having a boxing fight. It's relatively evenly matched, but Thanos did end up overpowering the Hulk. The Hulk ended up being warped back to Earth before Thanos could stop and kill all of them. So Bruce Banner was able to pre-warn Doctor Strange, whose house he crashed through, that Thanos was coming and that he was going to take the stones and destroy the world effect. We had a bit of backstory with Thanos. He actually showed one of his weaknesses in this film, which was his love for Gamora. Probably the only good feeling he has, the only emotional attachment he has, is to his adopted daughter. No matter how much he sees her as betraying him, he does truly love her. And that was a big shock when he ended up killing her in order to gain the Soul Stone. To get the Soul Stone, you have to lose someone you love in order to gain what you want, which is exactly what Thanos did. He did hesitate, but at the same time he was always going to choose the stone over his daughter, and he ended up killing her. He earlier kidnapped her from some of the Guardians of the Galaxy crew, Star-Lord, Mantis, Drax, and even earlier still, Gamora had made Star-Lord promise that if Thanos had managed to capture her, that he would kill her. She made him swear on his mother's life. That is because she knew something that no one else did, not even Thanos. And if he captures her, then he will find her secret. And her secret was she knew the location of the Soul Stone, which no one else seemed to know. She destroyed the map. Unfortunately, Thanos used his other adoptive daughter, Nebula, and used her ability to be able to record previous conversations. And he saw Gamora talking about the fact she knew where the stone was and that she destroyed the map, so it was always going to end that way. It was shocking when he killed her, though. I don't think any of the audience were expecting her to die, and I wasn't either. Loki, I wasn't too fussed about. You know, I might have expected it more because he's been as much a villain as he has been on Thor's side. He's pretty much back and forth. But Gamora is an integral part of Guardians of the Galaxy. You wouldn't expect her to die. If anything, she would be one of the characters you'd least expect to die in that franchise. So that was a big shock. I was a bit worried when I found out how many characters were actually going to be in the film. I mean, watching the trailer was a bit frustrating, to be honest with you, because for me, it felt like the trailer gave too much away. And actually, yeah, for me, it felt like the trailers gave too much away. Straight away, it showed Vision was being killed. It looked like other members of the Avengers were going to be killed, and it seemed like it used too much footage. But the scale of this film, I mean, it was action non-stop from start to finish, and there were so many characters in the film that you really didn't know which way it was going to go. I was expecting the fact that there were so many characters that it will just clog up the story, clog up the plot, and there'll be too much going on and little character development, and they'll be trying to give every single superhero some screen time, and it just wouldn't work. The plot wouldn't work. But it worked really well, and I'm very shocked by that. We saw some of Gamora's backstory, which we haven't before. Just her, when her mother was destroyed and Thanos first took her in. We got to see the effect of all of the stones, I think for the first time actually. Obviously the Soul Stone, you had Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange protected his stone for as long as he could. He even used a fake one to try to trick Thanos, but it didn't work in the end. He ended up having to give Thanos the stone in order to save Tony Stark's life. I wasn't too happy with that. I thought that was a really stupid decision. But I mean, I understand why he did it, because Thanos wasn't going to quit, and either they all die and he takes a stone, or he can save one person's life and he takes a stone. It's quite simple, really. The most annoying, frustrating thing that I caught from this film, and there weren't many of them, I'm being quite picky here, but it has to be Star-Lord's stupidly attacking Thanos out of revenge, out of frustration, and out of grief for the loss of Gamora, when they were so close to taking his gauntlet and the stones from him, and he stupidly messed that up and allowed Thanos to escape. And as far as I'm concerned, the Star-Lord is pretty much responsible for everything that came next. The special effects were amazing. The visual effects were just superb. I mean, there was a lot of them. As I was saying, it was non-stop action from beginning to end, so the special effects had to have been good. The CGI was good, and I'm not a really massive fan of CGI. I prefer a lot more practical effects, but the CGI, all in all, was pretty fantastic. I love the revisit back to Wakanda. I mean, we only just had the Black Panther film, so it was nice to see Black Panther had, a big enough role in the film. I would like to see more. A much bigger role, but the battle scene towards the end, set in Wakanda, was very nice. It was a lot more brutal and a lot more bloody than I was expecting. I mean, it's a 12A in the UK. I love that. I love the fact that it's darker, because it represents the fact that this is Infinity War is a darker episode. You'd expect there to be more death. Obviously, they didn't show as much of it on camera as a 12A film, trying to appeal to younger people. Obviously they want to make money, but it felt darker and it felt more ominous. But at the same time, there's a lot of humour as usual, particularly with the Guardians of the Galaxy crew. So yeah, there was quite a lot of laughs, as well as a lot of shocks and a lot of tension in the scenes, which I really enjoyed. But let's go straight to that ending. The ending was just spectacular. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting, the way I saw this panning out would be that Thanos would gain 5 of the 6 stones, and on the last stone he'd be so close to getting it, but Scarlet Witch or someone would have to destroy the stone. The last stone, the Mind Stone. And then the next film would be Thanos, still the most powerful person in the universe with 5 stones, but his weakness is that he doesn't have the 6th stone, and that will end up being his downfall, really. I did not consider the fact that because Doctor Strange's Time Stone was taken by Thanos, that of course Thanos can reverse time. So although the Infinity Stone for Mind was destroyed by Scarlet Witch, Thanos then reversed time and took the 6th stone. I was not expecting that, and there was a lot of gasps in the audience as well. But that was really intelligent. I like the way the film used the different elements of the stone in different ways. You had obviously time, you had, reality, you had the soul, you had the mind, you had power, which Thanos already had the stone for power. And it's just also well put together. And it's also very, it's well acted in the most part. Not entirely by every character, I don't think. But it's not about acting these sorts of films. It's always, these films are about the action. It's about the story, about the enjoyment overall. You want to see lots of comedy, lots of action, lots of fun, lots of death even, destruction. That's Marvel, and that's what people go to see. As well as their favourite characters and possibly new characters from the comics that they weren't expecting. There wasn't a mid-credit scene, which there usually is with Marvel films, but there was an end-credit scene. The end-credit scene was very interesting. Clearly, there was Nick Fury, and it looks like they're going to be merging Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so merging the Marvel TV shows with the Marvel films, which is a very interesting development. I wasn't expecting that either. At the same time, I don't know how many of them Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have also died, because at the end Nick Fury died. Let's go straight to that ending, actually. So, Thanos got what he wanted. He got all 6 stones, and he already said previously that when he went to Gamora's planet, he was speaking to Gamora, and told her, he let half the population live. The other half they were exterminated, including her family. That's what he does. On his own planet, Titan, the planet was being slowly destroyed. They were becoming extinct. He made the suggestion to, I'm guessing, his world leaders, to his people, that we should just do a blanket killing half the population. That will aid in their survival, as there'll be, I'm guessing, less mouths to feed and less overcrowding. That didn't go down too well. He said it would be indiscriminate. It can be rich, it can be poor, it doesn't matter. Just kill off half the population. He likes killing off half the population on a planet and then controlling the rest. And that's what he did to Earth. People just started dying. Members of the public, many of the superheroes. Black Panther just evaporated and died, which is a shame. I was hoping it wouldn't happen to Black Panther. So soon after the success with the Black Panther films, but Black Panther's no more. Although his main warrior protector, Michonne from The Walking Dead, she survived. The 2 characters that people were most expecting to die had Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Captain America. They actually survived. Iron Man, due to Thanos saving him after the ultimatum and Doctor Strange giving him the stone to save Tony Stark's life. Spider-Man died in Tony Stark's arms, scared of dying. It felt also wrong, but at the same time, it's a very, very risky but very brave thing of Marvel to do, and I thought it was the right thing to do. It's just, no one's going to be expecting it. It's like I said, it's going to blow up the internet. But I liked it. All members of Guardians of the Galaxy were killed. Groot got the biggest cries and screams in the screen. No one wanted teenage Groot to die, but he did. The only Guardians of the Galaxy left are Rocco, and if you can include Nebula, but everyone else is dead. You had Scarlet Witch, who ended up just evaporating, just disappearing off the planet, turning into dust. After the death of Vision, which was in her hands initially, until Thanos reversed time and then killed him himself, you had, obviously I've mentioned Spider-Man, obviously Drax, Mantis, Groot, mentioned already, Star-Lord died, Black Panther died, Gamora died. There's just so many people died. Nick Fury died. The Winter Soldier died. And who survived? So who survived the end of this? Thor survived. Thor made it out alive. He initially was dead and he made it out. Thor got himself a new eye. Thor got himself a new eye thanks to Rocco. And a new hammer thanks to Groot. And to a giant, apparently a giant dwarf, played by Peter Dinklage. Although all of his other friends and workers were all killed. The forge in which he works, the forge which creates pretty much all the most powerful weapons in the universe, such as Thor's hammer, and also including the gauntlet, which is worn by Thanos for the stones, which has been adapted to hold all the stones. Thor ended up pretty much killing himself to get the forge relighted, so a hammer for Thor can be remade finally, and he can use his hammer again. Groot ended up helping that. The handle of the hammer is made out of Groot's arm. So who survived? So we've got Rocco and Nebula surviving. Nebula's probably got the biggest insight into Thanos, so she'll be able to help hopefully quite a lot. I hope to see more of her in the next film. The Hulk survived, Bruce Banner. You've got Iron Man surviving, Captain America surviving. There's not many to choose from. There's not many that I know that survived. We heard a reference of Ant-Man, but he wasn't in the film, so Ant-Man's probably going to make it the next film. He's probably alive. But yeah, there's so many characters died. Black Widow's alive, so Scarlet Witch was epic in this film. I mean, she's so powerful. The fact that she's so powerful, she should have had a bigger role, let's put it this way, in previous films. She can stop, 5 massive bladed, I don't know what to call them, bladed spaceships that are just demolishing hundreds of people. She can just lift them all up and just destroy them instantly. The fact that she has the power to destroy an Infinity Stone herself, it's just, it's incredible. And it was nice to see quite a lot of her in this film, more than we have seen previously. There were some genuinely emotional scenes in this film. I mean, obviously Groot dying was pretty emotional, as was Spider-Man's death, which were just so unexpected. And even Gamora's death and the backstory between her and Thanos. I mean, there was a lot of emotional scenes, more than you'd normally get in a Marvel film. Although there was just as much humour. So, there was emotions all over the place. But it's just so well put together. The visuals was brilliant. The story and the plot. The fact they had so many characters in the film, so many characters to work with, it could all have gone completely hourly, it could have gone completely wrong. But they made it work. And there's always going to be worries about putting different franchises together in a film. So many of them. But it really did work. It really panned out. So I'm very happy. And one of the reasons it worked was because they weren't all together in one big group all the time. You'd have the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor pretty much separated from everyone else for most of the film, but towards the end meeting up with Spider-Man, Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. But then you'd have the Avengers, who are going about their own thing as usual, and don't really meet up with anyone else until maybe later on in the film. Then you have Wakanda. The Avengers end up going to Wakanda. Scarlet Witch and Vision have basically stayed low in Scotland. That's where they're living at the time. But they were found due to Thanos and his crew, I'm guessing, tracking the stone in Vision's head. They had a bit of a battle. Scarlet Witch had some epic battle moments. Vision ended up getting stabbed and seriously injured. The Avengers turned up to help them. Black Widow, along with Captain America, etc. And they came up with a plan to remove the stone painstakingly from Vision's head to destroy it without him being killed, and and figured that the Kingdom of Wakanda had the technology and the knowledge to be able to do that. So that's why they ended up going to Wakanda. So you pretty much have one battle with the Avengers and Black Panther on one side, and then you have another battle with Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Tony Stark, and the Guardians of the Galaxy, but only half of the Guardians of the Galaxy on one side. And then you have the other half of the Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor, and Thor with Rocco and Groot end up joining up with the battle on Wakanda. So it's a good mix, but they didn't put everyone all in the scenes together because that would just mess the film up completely. That would mess up the storytelling. I'll be honest, superhero films should be darker in my opinion because there's so many deaths that are happening in these films, pretty much always off camera. The amount of people that end up being killed, Age of Ultron, the amount of people that are killed in that film, and they have to have a darker tone. If it's all human, all aimed at kids, in my opinion, it just doesn't work, and it's not believable. Infinity Wars was believable, but at the same time, it can be watched by anyone, and that's why I say it's just so well put together. The editing, the writing, the sound and the music was amazing. Just the entrance to Guardians of the Galaxy, you get that music coming up again. Incredible. My predictions for the next film. So, I'm predicting that obviously the heroes that are left, the superheroes that are left, will end up taking on Thanos directly, and it'd be a proper universal war, maybe teaming up with other factions, including Ant-Man, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., anyone else that's alive, possibly even the armies of Earth and any other characters from the universe. They can get to join forces with them. Thanos has a weakness. I think Thanos' biggest weakness is his emotions, and now he's got the Soul Stone and the Mind Stone, the Time Stone even. This could possibly affect his mind and affect his emotions because he'll be able to go back and see Gamora. He'll be able to... His mind will be affected. His soul, his heart will be affected by the Soul Stone. I think having all these stones is going to wreak havoc on him mentally. Possibly even physically, but definitely mentally. And I think that's going to be his biggest weakness in the next film. As powerful as he is, I think he's going to have some struggles with controlling all of the stones by himself. I have a feeling Marvel are going to do that thing of, at the end, you know, because he has a time stone or something, it's going to reverse time and everyone that died is going to come back to life again. I hope not, to be honest with you. I thought it was a really brave, risky thing to do, and I think they should remain dead. I think, you know, once you're dead, you're dead. Except in the case of Thor, who never dies. But once you're dead, you're dead. I don't want everyone to be brought back again. At least those that died before Thanos got the 6 stones. So, Gamora, Loki, they should remain dead, along with Vision. I don't see them coming back to life anytime soon. But I would like them to leave it as it is. I don't want them to come back. I don't want any of the people that died in this film to come back in the next film. And I want them to go from there. I want it to literally be, this is the end of... This is the last stand. Maybe the X-Men will join the next film. There wasn't really a mention at all of the X-Men. And that'd be really interesting. Because we didn't see or hear any reference from them in this film. And having the X-Men would bring a whole new range of powers to the table. A whole new superhero force that is severely lacking now by the end of this film. Overall, I would give this film a 9 out of 10 as a massive shock value. Obviously, there was the 1% amounts for the fact there were a couple of stupid, frustrating things for me. The way some characters disregarded, you know, the universe effectively for their own life or their own revenge. And I think that's just... These things really, really irritate me when they happen in films. But I suppose you need people to be stupid, because otherwise, if everyone's intelligent and everyone does the right thing, then the film will end really quickly with the good guys winning every time. And that's not how things work, we know that. Star-Lord, we know, does stupid things and says stupid things, so I can't be surprised at all that he is the one to do the most stupid thing in this film. I expected better from Doctor Strange though, but I understand why he did it. But Doctor Strange could have bided more time, which would have enabled Scarlet Witch to destroy the stone way before Thanos had got the Infinity Stone for time off Doctor Strange. Therefore he may never have got the 6th stone. So there are many things. I mean, he didn't have to do it right then, right now, but he did, and we've got to live with it. The visuals, the story, the writing was superb. I mean, it's got amazing critic reviews from what I've seen, and I would agree with them. Okay, go on. The Collector died as well. Forget about him. I presume he died. I mean, we didn't actually see him die. But everything in that scene of Gamora, Star-Lord, Mantis and Drax going to nowhere, going to see the Collector to find a stone and to take it, all of that was an illusion, because Thanos had the stone to be able to create the illusions around him to see that everything was normal, everything was okay. But everything was fake. Even Thanos was fake. Gamora stabbed him and she thought she'd killed him, but it seemed too easy, as Star-Lord said in the film. That was easy. And everything was fake. Then everything started changing and was all on fire. And it was showing that the whole of nowhere was burning. And it's likely that Collector's probably been killed at this point. Spider-Man ended up in the heat of battle getting a new suit from Tony Stark, a very Iron Man-esque suit that also had metallic spider legs that came out and turned him even more into a Spider-Man, which was quite cool. So yeah, this film, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, it's a great score for a great film. I really enjoyed myself. It's really thrilling, shocking at the end, and now I really want to see more. And I'm not usually like that with a Marvel film, but this time around I am. Just the visuals, the sound, the music was great. I mean, the amount of comedy in there worked really well, along with the dark scenes. The shocking ending and many shocking deaths, and the fact it didn't go the way the trailer sort of looked like it was hinting at going, and it's interesting to see what direction the film's going to take next. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope it goes some way into getting you hyped into going to watch the film yourself. If you've seen it already and you want to make any comments, you agree with any of my theories or disagree with anything I say, then you can comment below. Subscribe on the link to my left, to your right, yeah. And yeah, keep watching. The more you watch, the more I upload. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you all next time.